Hey everybody, welcome back to the Acoustic Shop channel here in Springfield, Missouri. We are joined today by our great friend, Jim Pankey. He is here to help you guys unlock your banjo's full potential with the top 10 accessories that every player needs. And make sure to stick around to the end because we've got some great exclusive tips to help you get your banjo set up to perfection.
Hey, let's dive right in and explore the top 10 accessories that every banjo player needs to take your playing to the next level.
Baby, you don't know my mind today. The first thing we're going to talk about is finger picks. And yes, you will need two of those metal ones, one thumb. So let's talk about those. I guess we'll start first with the affordable options. What do you recommend?
I always tell my students to get the Dunlop finger picks. Every music store carries them.
Yeah.
If you're
They're
in the
very
middle
affordable.
of nowhere, they're very affordable, and they come in different gauges, and just mess with them, find the ones you like. But yeah, the Dunlop finger picks and the Dunlop thumb picks.
Yeah.
I like of the Dunlop thumb picks. I like the Calico. It's
The Calico?
Yeah, it's the.
Is that similar to the clown barf one?
It's clown barf, but they're brown and black.
I've seen those too.
Yeah.
Those would be a good option.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so if you were going to choose a mid-range one, what would you probably use right there?
I would look at the Pro Pick. I have a lot of students that like Pro Pick. They do a band that's a double band on some of their picks, and those are super comfortable. You don't have to wear them quite so tight, and those are comfy. A lot of folks really.
You can
like
get
the
those
Pro
in
Pick.
3 different blade shapes.
They have-
You're probably aware about. There's a 1, a 2, and a 3. The 2 is like a standard medium.
Right.
The 1 I think is thinner with the 3 thicker, or maybe I'm reversed on
They
that.
do that, and some of them come to a point, and some of them are even angled. I mean, there's a lot of options to try, and by the time you're playing a little bit, you might want to give those a shot, see if you like those. And then their thumb picks too. The Pro Pick thumb picks, they have an all metal thumb pick that's great, and then they have one with the Delrin.
They do have a new one with a new composite for the thumb pick part too. I just saw that as well. So if we got a premium, I think this is where most banjo players go. The blue chip thumb picks.
Yeah,
Is that what you're using?
yeah, that's
what I use
that's
when I play.
non-negotiable. That's the blue chip thumb pick, and people flinch a little bit, but I've had a blue chip thumb pick since 2009, and it still looks like.
Really, the only wear you're going to get off of a thumb pick on that is this is an abrasive head.
Yeah,
and if you're gouging at it, you will start to wear some of that tip down. But other than that, for most banjo players, they do not wear those things out.
They're pretty much indestructible.
And they already sound better from the start. So
They're brighter and slick. So
definitely worth finding those. Another premium finger pick that I've seen a lot, Sammy Sheeler has his own stainless steel finger picks, definitely a lot brighter, crisper sounding.
brighter, slicker feeling.
They are polished to perfection.
Yeah, and so y'all probably know I use the Ernie balls, but I don't recommend them. It's definitely a do as I say and not as I do situation. But the Sheelers, that's another finger pick that I can use.
That you feel comfortable with?
Yeah, I really like those.
Good. I do have a real quick question since we're talking about this. Do you reshape your finger picks from what is factory?
Oh, absolutely. I like to bend them up. I don't know. Anybody got a protractor? We can see where I've bent them to. But I curve them around to the shape of my finger, and then
I do that as well.
And extend them out, maybe 1/8 of an inch. Some people wear them closer. Some people wear them. I mean, John Hickman wore his straight.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I do bend them. It's just more comfortable.
Another essential accessory, a tuner, nobody, and I do mean nobody, not even banjo players, like being around somebody that does not have an in-tune banjo. And by the way, still probably an oxymoron because it's never really in tune.
A good start for tuners, like something affordable, the Snart makes the
Various different ones. I think we have the SN5X. There's a various different ones. They all have basic same type of function. A clip-on tuner to isolate you from outside noise. By the way, I know a lot of you can find free apps on your phones, and they do work. Unless you're in a crowded or noisy environment, then especially with a banjo, I definitely recommend some sort of
You have to have the clip on.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we had the little alligator clip that plugged into the
ISO
giant
tunes.
cord.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that very well.
Yeah, you've got to have the clip on.
One of my second favorite ones that I love is the D'Addario Micro Tuner. Now with the banjo mount, they actually built them for that. Yeah. It fits in the flange here, or not actually on the tension hooks, right on here. Super easy to read. You just kind of look down and you can angle it however you want, and it doesn't ever come off. I love that because of that fact. You put it in your case, it stays right where you want it to be.
And nobody borrows it.
Which means nobody keeps it.
Right. I have my, and it's a great option. Yeah, those are fantastic.
And definitely also less apt to be broken because of the fact that
it stays right there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Now for me, the same as the guitars, and I don't know if you use them as well, the Peterson Strobro tunes, the clips on those, I love that. It does have a banjo mode, which helps because there is a decay to banjos. It's a short or a very fast decay, so they try to catch the front side of those. I don't know if you use that sweetener, but I found it to be a little bit more accurate when I use that tuner.
Yeah, those are great. For banjo, strobe tuner, maybe a little bit overkill, but it is really nice.
Yes.
Yeah, and the sweeteners are fantastic.
I agree. So that'd be a really good option as well.
One other thing you're going to need as a banjo player, you're going to have a capo. If you're playing in bluegrass or even old time or whatever you're doing, if you're playing with other people, a capo is absolutely essential. You need one.
Yep.
A good affordable capo, D'Addario makes the NS capo. It's adjustable, it's small, it's fairly inexpensive, and it gets the job done.
It absolutely does. Another one that has been around forever, and everybody still. My dad still uses this one. This is his official capo, even though he's had higher end capos. The Shoppe capo.
Absolutely,
it's a standard. It's the one.
I still have mine from the 70s.
Yes.
I've replaced bits and pieces of it, but it's still.
They still function every bit as well as they ever did.
Yep.
They're well designed. They work well. They do have adjustable tension. A great quality capo. Now, when it comes to premium ones, I know you both have used both of these brands, Elliott and Cat's Eyes. Both of them make great one. Cat's Eyes a little bit more affordable than the Elliott's, but Elliott's are probably the premium capo.
Yeah, and, folks might look at the price on those and say, but you're worth it. You're absolutely worth it. And it's a nice piece of gear. It's something that you'll buy one time. Both Elliott and Cat Eyes stand behind their product. If you ever have a problem with them, they are on the spot to deal with.
And again, you mentioned this with tuner. Sorry, the biggest thing that happens to them is you lose them.
Right, and with the Elliott and the Cat Eyes, you put it on your banjo neck, and it just stays there.
It does not go anywhere, and you just have to lose it. And I always tell people that is an easy way to make that more affordable. As if you're spending $25, $30 each time you do a capo, it doesn't take long to get up toward the level of those $100 to $200 capos, and it worked better in the first place.
It worked better, and nobody's going to borrow it because it's it's yours.
Yep.
It's there.
Well, now I'm going to leave this one more up to you because I'm going to say I've used a few different types of strings, but banjo strings, there is a difference. There's difference in alloys. There's difference in gauges. We can kind of go through a few of those. But your favorite of the three right now, we're breaking this down in affordable, mid-range, and high-end or premium. What is your favorite affordable set of strings?
For years, and I will still buy them from time to time. But for years, I used just the Vega V700 light gauge Vega set.
I remember those.
And that was
still around,
and they still make them, and that's a fantastic set. They're affordable, and I love the fact now that just all the string manufacturers put them in little sealed packages, and so the Vegas come like that too. And so you can buy a set, you don't have to worry about them getting old before you need them, and you've got to have an extra set of strings or two in your case.
Always a good idea.
Because you're going to break a string.
Yeah, at some point. How about for mid-range?
Another string that I used for years was the GHS PF110. It's just a standard light gauge GHS set, but the GHS, their whole line is great, and not any there's not a gauge or a set there that I would dissuade anybody from trying. I mean, it's quality stuff. So
One good
kids
thing
just-
I can say about this before we get into the premium set here is this is an advantage banjo players have over just about everybody. Almost all of the banjo sets are affordable.
That's it. Yeah, you can try them all. You can try them
really
all.
can.
I mean, the price ranges on banjo sets are anywhere from $5 to $10. So I mean, it's so when we go from the $5 affordable set to now the premium Labella set, I use the 730 PXL from Labella, and again, it's just a standard light gauge set, and I've been using them for a little over a year now, and just extremely happy with those strings. And
Awesome.
it's a great option, and it's a old string company. They've been around forever.
I got another one. Banjo players get to try out all kinds of parts. And
Oh, yeah,
they
parts
do
and
this.
pieces.
They love trying out parts.
Well,
and,
yeah.
And the biggest one I think everybody keeps multiples of in their case is banjo bridges.
Yeah, the bridge.
They will swap them out. They will change them on different shows. I've seen a guy, well, my dad, he used to keep around 25 of them in his case and go, this banjo's not sounding right today. I'm going to swap out a bridge.
Change the bridge. It's such an easy thing to do, and it's also another thing that's reasonably affordable, and you can change the sound of your banjo drastically by changing to a different bridge. And every maker, their bridges all sound different based on how they make it. I mean, they're maple and ebony, and you would think, well, that's going to have
about it.
but they're not. They're how much maple, how much ebony, how much do they weigh, how thick they are, and each maker has a variety of bridges.
So if we're going to start with a very affordable option, something that everybody should keep in their case because they're just so affordable, what would that be?
Affordable and available. A lot of music stores will always have the Grover, just the standard Grover bridge that was stock on all the banjos.
It's been a standard forever.
Yeah.
Grover bridges have been around. This was what everybody put as a standard. Then we kind of got into the boutique / premium bridges. So everybody started with a Grover bridge.
But yeah, the Grover bridges are great. I've used them. I actually have a Grover on a couple of banjos because that's what sounds right.
There you go. How about the next level? What do you say is probably a big standard that you would say it's a step up? It's definitely been a premium for a lot of people for a lot of years as well.
Oh, absolutely. The Snuffy Smith bridge. The Snuffy bridges were...
I think that changed everything.
That was
when
game-changing.
When he created those.
Yeah, it's like, how's this going to make a difference? So I remember when I bought one and I put it on a banjo, I was like, oh. It did make a difference. It was, so the Snuffy Smith bridges and they're still being made.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. How about your favorite premium bridge? This is the one that's your go-to. It's like, man, this banjo needs to take to the next level. What's the one you go for?
Oh, absolutely. Brian Hooper. Brian, friend of mine I've known for years, and he's been a bridge maker for, I don't know, as long as I've known him just about. And
since the Brooklyn one.
Yes, absolutely. He didn't build that one, though, but he might tell you that. But no, that was not his. But yeah, the Brian Hooper bridges, they're the one, and y'all may have seen them. They're the ones with a little lightning bolt. And he made bridges for Curtis McPeak and all those guys. So
very cool.
Fantastic bridge.
We're going to get some of those in here.
Got to get some Brian Hooper bridges.
Do it.
I got to hook up. All of my banjos live in cases. I have cases lined up on the wall. There's banjos on them. That's just, to me, is just the easiest.
Even if they're never going to leave, I think it's a great thing. I mean, I'll talk just from the idea of humidification and making sure that is the easiest environment to make sure it's stable.
Absolutely.
Temperature, it helps, all that stuff. And then you got the bumps and bruises of everyday life. I don't care if you got kids, dogs, even a spouse who decides they want to clean and move things around. There's a good chance you can see damage. That's exactly right. So I guess we start with the first one, affordable options. To me, this is one of those that I still find to be not just affordable, but I still think is a great idea anyway, a nice gig bag.
A gig bag, like if I'm going to a festival and I'm going to be walking around, or if I'm at Spigma or somewhere, a gig bag is great because I'm not lugging the case, usually has shoulder straps, those are great. And a good quality gig bag, for instance, Roy Curry, I play guitar player. I play with.
Great player.
We traveled to Ireland, and he carried his guitar in a gig bag to Ireland. We flew with it, and
I've done that many times myself.
It's just so much easier.
Yes.
So, I mean, no, you don't get the bump protection, but one of the things that you won't do with a gig bag is you won't open a door with it. You won't prop your feet on it.
And you won't sit on it.
You won't sit on it. But which that's another layer of protection.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're a little more careful with it. I like that
Yeah.
idea. Hard cases. Obviously, a hard shell case is going to be an advantage. I personally recommend finding one that does have an arch top to it that gains structure. And what I'm talking about is a lot of hard shell cases. There's 3 plies and 5 plies. That's the amount of plies in the plywood underneath there. And if you do flat ones, it's still going to flex a lot, especially with these round shapes.
Right.
That center of it will flex and it push down into it.
Yeah, so
having an arch to it, shape,
have a dome.
that gives it a little bit more structure.
Absolutely.
And then we get to our flight cases. This is where it's maximum security. They do help with the thermal protection because they have a lot more foam. 1, that is better thermal protection. 2, the shells that they use. A lot of times it's either going to be a carbon fiber or a fiberglass of some sort. A lot more durable. These are the ones
watertight.
Yes, they're going to help you a lot with being sealed.
Right.
So yeah, these are the cases that if you have an instrument that you personally cannot live without. And this is where I talk to a lot of people that I think they're a little bit surprised with this. You can spend more on that case than what the banjo inside of it is worth, but there's a value to that in that the banjo is something that you'll never want to be without, and that's an insurance policy.
Absolutely. And it's something you with a flight case, if you have a bluegrass banjo, a normal one is going to fit in that flight case. So if you have multiple banjos and you think, I think I want to play this one on this show, it goes right in that flight case.
Sure.
So they're definitely worth doing. It's a buy it for life kind of deal. I mean,
no, I don't think I would put every banjo I would have in a flight case its own. That get kind of pricey, but there are values to that. And again, some of the top builders building those right now. We have Hoppe, we have Calton cases. I think that's really it for flight cases nowadays.
Yeah, I think so.
There were some others that have come and gone, and you can sometimes find those used as well. Definitely heavier, but there's a definite benefit to having something like that. We talked earlier about capos and capo use. And yes, we do believe that you're going to need to have one. In fact, that's what Jim was saying. Need to have one. One thing that people don't know is that they are going to need something to get that 5th string to go up too. So if you capo up 2 frets down here, that's not right. So it has to go up 2 frets as well. And there's a few different options in here for doing that. I know one are the 5th string capos, which can be a little bit cumbersome. I would say most pros, though, will use spikes. Are you a spike person?
I'm a spike person. Yeah, and 7, 9, and 10. Sometimes 8 if I'm playing with a group that plays in B flat a lot.
If you're playing with me, you'd have
you need to have one and 8. Well, you don't have to have one. But yeah, 7, 9, and 10 at the very least.
Sure.
And spikes are the way to go. The sliding capos, people like those, but for me, spikes are.
The biggest downside to having the sliding capo is, well, there's 2. 1, it sticks out further. You're going to bump into it.
And it covers my dots.
There you go. There's that. That was, I guess that's the 3rd one. The other one that I know a lot of people have issues with is they also rattle and make noise. It's metal. It's moving on a sliding deal. And when you're not using it, it's definitely going to make some noise. Now, as far as spikes, why are they called spikes? Just to let you know, they are model railroad spikes. They actually are the same ones that they would use to hold down a railroad track.
HO scale.
Yep.
Spikes.
And it has a little head on it, and what we're basically doing is getting that banjo string underneath it so it holds it down like a little finger.
Right.
Making it stay in the new tuning wherever you place that particular one. Easy to do. They stay out of the way. Most people don't even know you have them until you know you have them.
Right. Yeah. And you need them.
Next thing I guess we should talk about is something to kind of take care of the overall look of your banjo. And I guess that's some sort of polishing system. I would say your affordable thing that everybody should have is just a basic flannel cloth that is around. It's good for two things. It's good for just wiping down the woods, keeping the fingerprints
Block
and
the
that kind of
strings
stuff
down
down.
when you're done playing.
Wiping strings down, get all that gunk off of there that you left behind, the sweat, the dirt, the oils, all that kind of stuff. That's, I think, a necessity. Another great cloth that I like, well, I guess the next step is the microfiber towels.
Oh, I love, yeah, those are
That
great.
has changed everything for, I think, every musician everywhere. You can polish up and clean up the woods without having to use any chemicals or anything like that. Also do some of the metals as well.
Yep.
That's a really great option. And another one that I like, and I don't know if you've used yet, Deering makes a metal care cloth that has an inner chemical one, which gets rid of some of the buildup of tarnish and things that happen. Metal parts on banjos are hard to clean.
They're
and
hard to clean.
Easy to make look bad.
Nickel in general will, right now it's pretty, but it will get this gray hue to it, and then you can polish that off. I am notorious for
Never doing that.
I never do that.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. My guitar never gets cleaned.
I never do that. But
But if
I
you
know
want
a
it
lot of
sparkly clean,
a lot of people do, and it's having a good system to do that and clean is great.
another, I think, necessity, and one that I've been struggling with since I've been sitting here holding a banjo, no strap. Guys, I think a strap, even when you're seated, is a necessity.
Absolutely. I tell all of my students when they start, hey, you've got to have a strap, and just and I always push the leather strap with the unfinished interior. That way, when you put it on, it stays put. It doesn't slide around, because banjos, I mean, are notorious to have a little bit of neck dive, and so a good leather strap will help.
I got you right there. There's a few different options, of course, in those. Real quick for you, are you a believer in the cradle style straps, or do you use the ones that rest on the tension hooks?
I use the ones that mount to the tension hooks. I have one cradle strap, and I bought it 40 years ago, but it's still on the banjo. It's fine, but I don't necessarily think that that's important, but I do definitely want to attach them to the little loops on the brackets. Do you use, what kind of humidification do you worry about with a banjo? Do you?
I think the biggest thing is obviously the neck. I guess if we're worried about humidification, it's going to be the wood parts of the
absolutely.
Instrument. Metal doesn't need to be humidified all that much.
No,
in fact,
not
it's probably
really.
better to not have any.
Right.
But
yeah, and the things that I would notice, and especially when traveling and playing different places, a lot of times I would get somewhere different humidity than I'm used to. Get the banjo out, we're playing, and then I notice suddenly my action is just all the way down. And it's like, well, this doesn't work. And how's that happen is the neck changes in the different humidity. So being able to control humidity is a big deal.
It is. Not just for playability, you're right, but even just for keeping care of the instrument. Like you said, the other thing that you'll start to see is metal does not shrink, and wood does. Right. And sometimes you get fret edges
that
sprout
out. Yeah,
and that's not good, especially with bound fretboards. That'll push through the binding on those.
It will cause the binding to break. And there's...
You don't want any of that stuff to happen. So it's worth definitely doing. I do agree with you, though. Banjos will show playability issues due to humidification before just about any other instrument because the necks are very flexible.
Right.
It's such a long neck and a little bit of movement. I mean, this is the only one where we get to go.
Right. Yeah.
We can flex a half a tone right there just by pushing on that neck. It is very flexible. You will definitely notice it. Well worth worrying about humidity. What are your favorite deals for keeping? Like we discussed this earlier, in a case, easier to maintain humidity.
Definitely
levels.
easier to do that. And like when I'm traveling, I usually, just a simple, the Dario makes one that's
the
real
Humidipack.
simple. The Humidipack is good. And then Oasis makes one too. Both of those, and I've used both of those. I'm pretty happy.
So now we've kind of gone over the accessories that we believe most banjo players should have. Jim, let's talk about your favorite setup tricks. What do you look for first when you're setting up your banjo?
First thing I look at is string height. I mean, it's got to be comfortable to play. So, and there's a lot of different things that affect that, but sometimes it's just as simple as even head tension. So when you get a new banjo in, sometimes the head isn't tight like it ought to be. And I don't have a magic number to tighten it. I just tighten my head. Does that sound good? Yeah, that's good. So, and then you can find out your string height. Sometimes you may need a truss rod adjustment if the truss rod is too tight or too loose, and you can adjust the truss rod of the neck. But I usually like about 1/8 of an inch at the 12th fret.
Okay.
And it's just a nice, comfortable height. And then obviously nut height is important as well. And while I don't necessarily have a magic number for nut height, basically what I like to do is I will go ahead and fret this string here and measure under that. It's usually about the thickness of a piece of, and nobody's going to even know what this is, a piece of paper out of a telephone book. But that thickness, like newsprint, you know.
I like that the guy who's mostly on TikTok is now referencing telephone books for all you folks out there. I love that. That's very cool.
But that height, and
Yep.
but that requires a little bit of some adjustment. And you know, if you're not comfortable with that, folks here definitely are.
Bring it to somebody who's well
done that
qualified
before.
for it.
But
How about tailpiece? Tailpieces is one of those setup things that nobody else has to worry about this, but I know banjo players get particular. Are you a angle up? Are you level flat? Are you extended from the head a certain amount? What is your setup for tailpiece adjustment?
So on a Presto tailpiece, like the Recording Kings come with, I usually will raise this up about to where the base of this is maybe 3/32 above, you know.
So not resting on, but
Not
just
resting
above.
on, but just above. And then, you know, as level as this can get, but like the front of the tailpiece, maybe about 3/8 of an inch from the top of the head. And that's a good place to start. And that's just for the Presto. Other tailpieces
Two different
they're
things.
different. But for the Presto, which both of these come with, and it seems like just about everything.
That's probably
comes
the
with
biggest standard
the Presto.
as far as banjo.
But yeah, I usually raise it up a little bit, and it's usually good to go.
There you go. Well, Jim, thanks for hanging out with us. It's fun talking about things I have no business talking about. Banjo, parts and accessories. It is actually a fun thing. I do dabble in banjo every once in a while. I'm sorry.
I've heard some things.
I'm sorry. You don't.
The brothers are talking.
Yeah, I bet they are. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video at all, Jim actually hung out with us and we created a Recording King banjo lineup. We talk about all the major models in the Recording King banjo lineup, and that video is going to be posted right here. You can click this link. We'd love to have you for that. Again, thanks, Jim, so much for imparting your banjo wisdom on the folks out there as well as on me. And we will see you for another video here at the Acoustic Shop channel. Check out Jim's channel as well.
Yeah, please.
So much instruction, so much great tips and tricks. Do that, and we will see you again next time.
Yeah.